Thin.
Mine.
Normal.
Brown.
Mine.
Small.
Strong.
Unique.
Average.
Skinny.
Fit.
Tall.
I don't know.
My name is Lisa Pearl, and I am an eating disorder specialist. I work a lot with people who have body image issues. So most little kids are sort of through and through when they think of themselves. Like they're not yet compartmentalizing how they think of themselves. So they haven't quite discovered the capacity for abstraction in their ability to think of themselves. If you think about the concepts of body image, we can also think about the ways in which kids learn about food and their body. You know, elementary school kids are still at the point where they're learning that there are different kinds of foods from different ethnic groups, that food can be really fun and playful, and that you can create different recipes. So when nutrition education or information about body image comes at them, like don't eat that or else you'll get fat, or you should really watch how much you're growing, they don't get it. It just makes them scared that they don't understand this kind of nutrition information. They don't understand how they're supposed to control their body. They just hear that they're not okay, that something's wrong with them. And we ask a lot of elementary school kids to pay attention to their bodies in ways that they don't understand, or pay attention to their diet in ways that they really can't grapple with.
A lot of things.
I don't have any boobs. You asked. I'm telling you the truth.
My hips.
My chin and my belly.
I have been noticing in the last 1 year or so, certain lipids showing up in places that you didn't think could even be possible.
I just like the way my legs look.
I wish I was taller.
Because 6th grade is a little different, right? You're getting into that pre-adolescent kind of capacity. So there's this capacity to start differentiating different aspects of the self. At the same time that that's happening, in middle school there's this tremendous physiological growth. The average girl, you know, spanning 6th to 9th grade, grows about 10 inches, gains about 50 pounds.
I'm a little short compared to a lot of other people my age.
I used to weigh myself a lot more. I rarely weigh myself because it makes me more self-conscious.
When kids are trying to understand how they fit in and their body is changing, it can be pretty scary.
A lot of girls, especially in middle and high school, are like striving to have this like perfect body that's from Instagram or like in magazines and commercials, and even though like that real body isn't real because it's just photoshopped and like not possible to achieve.
I shave my legs and my underarms because everybody does.
Well, I just pretty normally, so I guess kind of maybe to fit in, but also kind of to be comfortable and express who I am.
I guess society has made it so appearance is pretty important, and I like care about my appearance.
I compare my body to others often. I think it's hard not to.
I think everybody's kind of looking at everybody and like judging even if they're not trying to.
They're growing into amazingly interesting people, that they're developing all kinds of likes and dislikes. They're learning more and more about themselves.
I'm a really big athlete. Well, I pretty much just play sports because I love to do it.
I want to be a pediatrician when I grow up.
No, either like a biochemist or like something with international relations.
You know, the ideas about body image at that point in time, they're shifting and changing. They're not static. No one is exactly at the same place at the same time.
I hate this question.
This is so hard. I like my hair.
I really don't know. I'm sorry.
I like that I'm tall.
I like being tall, but not like very, very tall.
I'm approachable.
I like that I look real. I don't think I do a lot to look other than myself.
When I laugh, that my whole body apparently like laughs. It's not just my face.
And so I see others respond to that joy, and I love that.
I love my hair.
High school is a continuation of middle school. You're starting to lay down what kinds of relationships really feel good to me. How do I understand the culture that I live in?
Especially coming from Hong Kong, around me there were a lot of like white people, or like half white people, half white and half Asian, and I always looked up to them. I think there's a certain standard when you come from a certain racial background to look a certain way, and especially like for Chinese people, it's stick thin, and if you're anything outside of that, like, you're not considered like pretty. It's like having those Eurocentric features that everyone found beautiful.
As a black person, like, I always feel that pressure to be thick and like curvy, like slim thick, because people see, like, I guess on TV, like Nicki Minaj is big, but like all these black women, like in the back of the videos are like popping that booty. Like all these songs are about like, oh, she got a big ass, she got a thick ass, like, and they're talking about black women, and like not all black women are thick.
What is the perception I have of the world around me? What is the perception I have of myself?
There's always this voice in the back of my head. It's, do you look skinny enough in this? Or will people like compliment you today? Like, that's always in the back, as much as I want to say to myself, like, it doesn't matter what people think.
I guess this is how I like express myself, through the way that I look and the things that I wear and the way my hair looks. But I guess it's very important to me.
And in high school, you start to really explore more about what you want, what you like, what you don't want, how your perceptions might be very different from other people.
I spent a lot of time, like in the past few years, like governing what I can eat and like really like controlling it, and it never ends up changing the way I look in any way. It's all mental, and like no one notices that there's a difference at all. It's just me every time I look in the mirror.
In this day and age, we're like trying to like cut back on like being hard on our bodies and like promote this like idea of self-love. Like I feel like, I guess now more than ever, there's like honestly I feel like there's more of a pressure now than I've ever felt more in my life to look a certain way.
There's this kind of discernment that's happening at the same time that you're getting more and more attuned to what you really want in your life, what honors your sensibility.
Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah.
I feel strong physically, but not emotionally.
Yeah, I guess. Well, in my legs because I play soccer, but my arms not so much. But confident-wise, pretty much.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes.
I feel strong.
Yeah, I feel strong.
Yeah, I do feel like my body's very strong.
Some days. Yeah, not as strong as I wish.
I feel very mentally strong.
All of this starts to consolidate in adulthood, and at the same time it's always changing.
When I was in high school, I would focus on sort of small aspects of my body, and I would feel as though how much I moved or what I ate was sort of going to be directly related to what I looked like, and I wanted to look a certain way predominantly for other people.
When I look at pictures of myself from college and from grad school, and I see those pictures and I'm like, oh, I was so beautiful back then. But back then, I didn't feel that way. 10 years from now, when I'm going to look at pictures of now, I'll be like, whoa, I was so beautiful back then.
If we're swimming in a cultural soup where there's a lack of diversity and everyone is, idealizing one body size, depending on who we are, we're either going to feel really, simpatico and in sync with the cultural ideal, or we're going to feel very different from that cultural ideal.
I was raised Muslim and in Bangladesh, which is where I'm from. The culture is conservative sartorially. By that I mean there's a certain way of dressing up, even though it's a very secular country.
In Bangladesh, everybody, 180 million people look like me. That homogeneity really cuts out all the dross of like perceptions of people of a different color, different race, different body shape. Everybody kind of has the same body shape too. Everything is really messed up because here, I think, because back home, women who are curvier are really celebrated in terms of also good eating. Anyone who's like super skinny will be like, oh, you can't afford to eat. That's why, you know, so there are all these class markers around this as well. But here, being brown, you're exoticized. And that is a weird thing for me.
Being someone who was black and thick and being in a predominantly white space where the standards of beauty are so different, and you're just kind of trying to figure out, like, where do I stand? Like, you know, like, am I not going to be as attractive because I'm not as skinny, or I don't fit into what your group's ideals of beauty are? And so you're just kind of walking through with it's so complicated.
I think that the image of beauty is pretty, I'd say pretty white. And I think that there are different standards of beauty that aren't fair, that make people feel marginalized or inferior. Beauty marketing is very discriminatory.
It's amazing that we can feel so differently based on where we are.
I have not experienced body shaming in my country, and I've not experienced body shaming myself, but I've actually witnessed body shaming happen in front of me in this country.
I have black female friends who are on the skinnier side that they tell me about how inadequate they feel because in the black community, being a little bit thicker is like more appreciated and welcomed. But then if you're on the even bigger side, it's like, I don't know, like you gotta have that, what was that song? It was like 32, 28, 34, those like right proportions.
In this culture, right, which idealizes thinness, is really embracing diversity, is really making it safe to be fat, right? Really allowing ourselves to see each other and honor each other and respect each other for who we are, regardless of body size.
I feel like for me, it's just about finding like what attractiveness and beauty is for you. And it's hard because with women, we have all of this media and all of this stuff that's coming from that male gaze or from that oppressive place. And so it can be hard to figure out, like, if you shave your armpits, like, are you doing it for you or are you doing it for society? But I just know for me, like, if there's anything that I can do in this world, it's like creating that space and having those conversations in which women can dissect like what beauty is for them and like feeling comfortable within their body for themselves.
I felt really proud of myself after childbirth, and that my body was able to grow 2 people. I guess I feel accomplished in my body when I push myself physically. So if I'm able to run a little farther, if I'm able to swim a little bit longer.
It may be something else for other people, right? It could be more in an artistic realm, right? That you identify with yourself in this world in a more aesthetic capacity through dance or song, right? By developing music, by making art. And that influences how you see and feel about yourself in terms of body image.
Sometimes I still have that rhetoric, but for the most part, I'm just kind of like, listen, like you just built a website, like you are producing 6 videos a month, like you are doing so much, like that expectation of like, and then I need to have my legs shaved and my armpits shaved, like you are crazy.
Now it's purely, I would say, about feeling good within my body and making sure my body is going to be here for the people that I love. Health is far more important to me than what my body looks like.
When my mom and dad don't play with me. No, when they don't lay with me.
When I finish a musical or finish a really good drawing.
In sports, when I do something good, or like when I do well on a test, or when I get complimented for something.
When I win a track meet, or I do the 100-meter dash, so when I win, that's like when I'm really proud.
After I win a gymnastics competition or complete a math problem before the boys in my class. Sometimes when I eat really good in the day, I feel really good about my body, no matter how it looks.
I feel the best about my body when someone else compliments me.
I guess when I'm doing sports or like when I'm doing physical activity.
I have certain plans for every class I teach, an idea or a vision of what I want to happen in the class and what I want my students to learn. I'm really proud of myself if I can convey all that information.
When I'm dressed to go out, you know, the dress and the whole 9 yards.
As people age, they feel more and more distant from what is desirable and idealized in the culture.
I don't know if eating well or workouts are going to solve that. It's part genetic. I've seen it in my mom and I've seen it in my sisters.
You have a very small cohort of images in, American, marketing and advertisements that represent a certain type of body, right? A fit, lean body, and a body that's young.
It was easier to approach people when I'm skinny, because I feel more confident than I would when I had gained some weight. So you feel more at ease, you feel more confident, more in charge.
The idealization of the young, fit body becomes a further and further, possibility, and they feel more and more invisible, more and more, I think, discouraged about their appearance, and that leads them to feel worse about themselves.
It defines how I feel, and how I feel about myself, how I feel about the world, and those around me. So it's not just one-dimensional.
As people age, they become so much more gifted in ways that they're not appreciating. A lot more wisdom, a lot more lived experience to share with others. They have the capacity to be in relationships in ways that are more authentic. They're not so busy trying to prove themselves to anyone anymore. And so they can show up relationally in a way that maybe someone who's younger can't. They're able to understand more about what life brings. They're kind of looking at the future and they're looking behind at the same time. And those two things give them perspective in a way that other people don't have, right? And that can be just an incredible gift to be able to appreciate.
I think I've become less self-conscious because I'm more accepting now. And I'm more okay with the things I can't change. I mean, you always want something that you don't have.
Every day is just another potential for progress. It's another day for me to work on feeling better about myself.
When you're struggling with body image, then you don't see yourself the way other people see you. And my guess is maybe are focused on things that other people are not focused on. And so to try to be kind to yourself.
There's just too much happening on a daily basis. I don't want to add, I don't want to numerically evaluate myself. I don't want to know the number because there's no right number.
To me, I'm this thought keeps coming up. Let's deal with it. Let's confront it. You feel insecure about it? What do you feel like you could do that will make you happy and that also is serving your needs and not necessarily the needs of society and what they want? This is about you because this is your body.
I think so much of body issues have to do with, am I going to be loved or accepted the way I am? True love will look past all surfaces into your depths. And everybody is capable of infinite depths. But to actually believe that this is only an interface, the hardware doesn't matter. What matters is what software you have,
It's more important what's inside as opposed to the outside.
You know, I look back at what my body was like when I was harshest to it and when I was most critical of it. And from a purely sort of size or external reaction to my body, it was probably a lot better than it is now. And yet I'm a lot happier in my body than I was when I was in high school or even middle school.
I would say be kinder. And kindness is such an abstract term, but to be kinder to yourself and to know that true worth of a human being comes from how you treat others.
There's someone looking up to you the same way that you're looking up to another person, and like that completely changed my perspective, because someone's probably like looking at my body the way I look at another person's body.
I also would say get help. If it's really something that's controlling your life and you're thinking about your body all the time, you're conscious of what everybody's thinking about you, you're sitting in certain ways, you're just always feeling aware of your physical self, that's exhausting and you probably need help.
Body image is, it's like a tapestry, right? Or it's like a quilt that you've been weaving for a long time. And someone struggling with body image issues, it can be a lot of different things. It can be issues from when they were younger. It could be trauma that they experienced where they were actually hurt in their body or emotionally about their body. It can be, you know, a perceptual issue that people have. It could be a processing issue in their, you know, neurobiology. So it can be many things. And if someone is really struggling with body image concerns, they should go and talk to someone who specializes in working in the area, because there's no one right answer, right? There's no one way in which a person develops trouble in their body image. And somebody who understands how to work in body image will help them figure that out.